All right, y'all, today's guest is someone I've been following for a long time, and funny enough, for the longest time, I thought he was Chris Phillips that was the catcher for LSU in the early 2000s. Turns out, totally different dude, but he's probably more famous in the SEC these days anyhow. Actually met him at a tailgate during the LSU Tennessee baseball series. He rolled up with Blake Ruffino from AYS, tried crawfish for the first time, and we've been chatting ever since. I knew then that this guy's legit and a cool dude, and I just wanted to have him on the show. I think he is going to be the perfect voice for our college football preview show. I can't think of anyone any better whatsoever. He's the founder and the voice behind SEC Unfiltered, one of the most opinionated, consistent, and flat-out entertaining brands in college sports media today. And we're going to get his full story from how he built it, the grind behind the growth, the rewards, and the challenges. And then, of course, we're going to break down this wild SEC football season that is coming ahead. But before we dive in, if you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, hit that like button, follow, share it. Let's keep this thing rocking and rolling. Let's get into it, man. Chris, thank you so much for coming on and talking a little ball and just kind of letting everybody get to know you a little bit better, just even outside of sports. How are you, brother?
Yeah, what's going on, man? I'm doing well. I appreciate you having me. Yeah, it's exciting times. You and I got to pass the time in a fun way following LSU, obviously through the postseason and into Omaha and the College World Series, and got to hang out and party with all the LSU fan base really for quite a while watching the Tigers win the national championship. So, yeah, it was a fun summer, man, but obviously the calendar, once we get to about July 4th and we get past that, that's when I really flip into football mode. And you know, it never cuts off, but that's when you really feel like you can kind of feel the winds changing. Like, hey, it's just around the corner. We get to media days, and then it's really on, right? We know fall camp's around the corner and kickoff before you know it.
Exactly, man. It's hard to believe that it is here because it felt like for months. You thank God for LSU baseball on my end and for the SEC for that matter that the College World Series happened and that extended the fandom, if you will, for everybody to keep going to where we just have about a month and a half before everything is here. And then now here we are. Boot has hit leather. They are hitting each other. People are falling out, all of the good stuff that starts to happen. Coaches are on the hot seat. It's fun. This is like,
people are freaking out over 15-second practice clips. They're freaking out over every little. But, you know, I've actually liked it, man. I mean, I think this was, you know, we're all talking about the season as we look back, though. This was, from my vantage point, one of the most unique off seasons I've ever experienced as not just a fan of the sport, but, you know, obviously we have a unique vantage point doing what we do in content and seeing numbers and analytics. And, you know, I think this was the first time we really, truly did have an off season in college football because of, you know, the off season, let's call it for what it is, man. It's deplorable in a lot of ways. Like, it gets nauseating talking about portal and NIL and conference realignment and expansion and playoff. And we've never talked about football, the game itself, less than we do now in the off season. We've never spent less time talking about it. That's why, like, spring football felt everybody was just so apathetic about it. The spring games, you know, I went to Alabama's spring game and it was like a joke. I mean, it was just, nobody was there. Nobody really cared. It's, you know, it's whatever. So, but I kind of liked it. Everybody was so invested into basketball and baseball because of that. And it's made the offseason for football almost feel shorter because we actually invested all of ourselves into baseball. Before you know it, you're like, oh man, it's July. Like, we got a lot of content to get out and a lot of stuff we want to do. And so yeah, an interesting offseason, no doubt. But like I said, man, I'm just really glad, like, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're talking about actual football in the field. Like you mentioned, it's set up for people are on the edge of their seats, no doubt, across the league.
No doubt, dude. No doubt. Well, let's rewind it for a minute and we'll jump into all of that and break down what you think's going to happen, what you've been seeing, and all of that fun stuff. But let's go back to when you were growing up. Were you always obsessed with SEC football?
Yeah, so the origin story for me, I'm born and raised from the state of South Carolina. Parents still live there. Family still lives there. North Augusta, shout out to them, right across the river from the Augusta, Georgia, where the Masters is, for those that are wondering. But, born and raised in South Carolina. It was my grandfather that really got me into it. I was probably 11 or 12 when it really clicked. You know, I grew up playing sports, golf and baseball, the two primary, so I was focused on that. You know, I didn't really grow up in a family that, like, went to games every week or anything like that. My grandfather, again, was diehard, very heavily invested, and he was a South Carolina fan. So I was born and raised a fan of the Gamecocks. And I was about 12 years old. It was like end of 02, beginning of 03, where it, like, really – I mean, I had watched before, but, you know, there comes that moment when it really clicks of, like, how big this is, how life or death this is. And, yeah, I just ate it up, man. I mean, again, I was a sports kid. You know, I played sports. I loved sports. And so it was very easy for me to gravitate towards it and become obsessed with it. And I did. I mean, I you know, obviously loved baseball because I played it. Who doesn't love college football? I absolutely loved football from the jump. I played that through middle school, but loved it as a fan, obviously. And so, yeah, once it gets in your blood, man, it's stuck forever. And that was kind of – and, I mean, I always, too, like, I was born and raised a South Carolina fan, but I loved college football as a whole. Yeah. I mean, it's just intoxicating. Like, I remember growing up and watching you know, when I remember the whole Nick Saban going to Alabama thing. I remember watching USC Texas in 2005. Like, I played the NCAA video game. Like, you know, there were just so many moments like that in my childhood. I remember watching Larry Fitzgerald at Pitt, like some of these legends, right? So definitely loved the game early on, and that just kind of led to, man, as life progressed. You know, I went to Newberry College in Newberry, South Carolina, played baseball there, a little D2 school, and so I continued to be a sports guy. And, you know, after that, we all in your 20s, you're just trying to figure out, you know, what's the next step? Who am I? Right. Where am I going? What's my purpose or my calling or what have you? What's my role in society going to be? And, you know, struggled with that for a little bit, got in the corporate world, had to do the whole 9-to-5 thing, and was very unfulfilled, unhappy, admittedly, and didn't love it, right? Because you go from pursuing this thing that was baseball for me and waking up every day and your whole life is centered around pursuing something you're passionate about and that is a dream of yours. And to go from that to what felt like to me just going through the motions, it just didn't fulfill me. You know what I mean? Right. It was, I couldn't accept that as like, this is my destiny. This is my path. So, you know, my grandfather was an entrepreneur. My dad majored in business and worked for him for a while. It's like, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, just didn't know what it was. And lo and behold, it was just kind of under my nose the whole time. You know, I was a consumer first. I mean, dude, I remember listening. I'm probably dating myself for some people that are listening, but like, I remember listening to podcasts when they really started to pop off in like the early 2010s. You know, I was on social media really early back in like 08, 09, like Twitter, you know, Facebook, everything. Like I found it fascinating, the whole self-expression side of things. Like, knew I wanted to be in sports somehow because I did love talking about it, obviously. I mean, I'm a yapper. I can ramble about it and, you know, love it's crazy. I'll give you kind of a side note story, which is so funny. It just goes to show how funny life is. I remember being in high school, just making this for my grandfather. I made like a keys to the game and key players. I made like, I don't know if you remember in school, you make like pamphlets. I made a pamphlet about a game, a certain game that South Carolina was playing. And I had like key players, keys to the game. It makes you laugh because I'm like, I still do that stuff. Like that. Right. Exactly.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, just like
been
doing it a while now.
Yeah. It just like follows you. Like it's just like ingrained in you. So, but anyways, to shorten up a very, very, very long story, I was a consumer first. You know, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but as you know, man, like in the podcast game, the media game, it's just very hard to start. I think that's where most people struggle. And thankfully, I stumbled across an entity December of 2016 called Armchair All-Americans. They were a smaller entity, but they had like team pages, and they were looking for a South Carolina contributor. And so I jumped on with them January 2017. And it was, I mean, dude, we started from zero, literally zero across the board. But I didn't care. It gave me an outlet to do something I really, really enjoyed. And then started doing the podcast side of things April of 2017 under that same entity. And dude, from there on, man, I just ran with it. I took it and ran with it. November of 2018, I got the LLC. I saw the vision very, very early. August of 2019, that quickly, I moved to Columbia, South Carolina full-time to pursue it full-time. Nice. From there, grew, scaled, took a lot of risks, had a lot of successes, learned a lot of lessons along the way. And I always had it in the back of my mind when I started, you know, I have entrepreneurial goals, right? So I just knew that, hey, like covering one team is great, but to have the opportunity to go where I want to go. Listen, like you start doing it, is it all about the views? Is it all about the numbers? Is it all about the money? No. But if you're going to bust your rear end as hard as we do on a day in, day out basis, like I want to maximize every ounce of what I've got in me. I want to achieve everything I can. So I always had that idea of doing it, and the stars sort of aligned, and I saw the opportunity and made the decision, and we rebranded and relaunched in December of 2023 to SEC Unfiltered. So, last year, it's crazy to think it was our first full year. And so, I mean, I still look at it. It's interesting, man, because it's like SEC Unfiltered is still in its infancy when you really think about it, even with our immense growth and, again, the successes we've had. Because, I mean, the moment that we did that rebrand and, it was just a game changer. It's the best decision I ever made in my entire life. I mean, the way we've scaled, I mean, just and here's the thing too, man, it's not even just that, but like the opportunities it's given me from a standpoint, I'm having more fun than I've ever had before. I've made the greatest relationships I've ever had in my entire life. It's just opened the door to so many opportunities, and I've met so many awesome people. I've seen so many awesome places, obviously, that I wouldn't have gotten to see before, with the tour last year. And then, I mean, heck, even, last year was the first time I ever went to Omaha. This year was the first time I was there for the full 2 weeks. So, like, we'll do the tour again. It's just another side note, like, we're all over the latest SEC football documentary on Netflix. Like, I don't think that would have probably ever happened either. So, yeah, it's cool, man. The journey's been really wild. And again, I'm obviously leaving out a bunch of key parts there because it's hard to summarize a 8-year journey in like 5 minutes. But nah, man, it's been such a blessing and the most rewarding journey in my entire life, and really grateful where we are, but really excited where we're going.
Well, brother, I mean, you answered like 6 of my questions that I had coming up right in there. That's about the most concise origin story answer that I've ever had on this show. So great job. I don't think that was the first time you've told that.
No, I've been asked before. I will say this too. The one thing I would say on that journey is because the follow-up question I get a lot is about my fandom. And I won't go too deep into detail, but I'll just say this. When you go throughout the journey, and because, I mean, everybody who watches this knows, like, I'm as unbiased as it gets, and I really, truly am. Like, I have no biases at all.
Except for the SEC.
Except for the SEC, of course.
Yeah, if it's an SEC team playing versus any other conference, you're all in on that team.
I would just say that when you again, this is not to get into too great a detail, and many people probably won't understand, but some people will. When you go throughout the journey and you deal with things on a business scope, and especially and you probably know this, when you're dealing with one team, one university, you find out really quickly there is a separation between business and fandom. And so it'll put things in perspective really quickly. So admittedly, when I made that transition, like I'm not some like closet South Carolina homer that's like actually hates everybody in the SEC.
Right.
I'm truly, genuinely as unbiased as it gets. I just want the SEC to do well. And, I take the mantra, man, you show us love, we'll show you love, which is why people are accusing me of being an LSU fan, for example. But I'm like, hey, we go down there and we hang out with LSU people. I mean, they shower us with love and they show us a great time. And so, yeah, like, I'm going to rock an LSU shirt at the College World Series. Number one, they're not even playing another SEC team. But number two, I mean, dude, like, they took care of us the whole 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
We show, I got love for every school in the SEC. We show love to people who show us love. And again, man, it's been the most rewarding thing, because I think the mistake people make, or at least, again, I'm speaking from probably the most unique vantage point you're going to hear. But what I love so much about that being unbiased is, like, when I go on the tour, I'm not comparing any place to another place. You can just go and appreciate all of them for what they are. Like, there's no, like,
I think that's a good way to do it.
Like, for example, love LSU fans to death. They can't go to Tuscaloosa and tell me how great it is. Like, they physically can't. Like, they cannot do that. A Tennessee fan can't go to Athens and admit how awesome it is.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, so, like, it's really nice and rewarding to be able to kind of, the fandom side is great. Don't get me wrong. That's how we all get into it. But if you can just, like, take a step back and just appreciate the game for what it is, and the traditions and the pageantry. Yeah, just exactly. Everything that makes college football special, man, and SEC football special. It's incredible. So, like I said, man, I'm having I'm having the most fun I've ever had in my entire career. I'm more fulfilled than I've ever been in my entire career. I'm surrounded by a great team of folks as well that are working with me, and it's a blessing, dude. So I'm excited for what's to come, man, because that's the funny thing about the journey is it's, you can only plan so much, but there's stuff that happens along the way that you just didn't even see coming. That's a greater blessing than you could have ever dreamed of.
That's part of the fun of it too, is and I wanted to get there kind of like with what is your schedule like for this fall coming up? I know you're going to be going to some different campuses and going to some different games, but do you kind of keep the back end open a little bit for potential playoff matchups or this or that?
So so I've got a tentative schedule right now for the entire season, but you'll notice I only drop them week by week. I feel really good about where we're going the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season.
Right.
Because those are it take just something outrageous for for example, I'll just go ahead and play spoiler. I'm pretty confident Georgia-Bama still going to be a pretty good game by week 4. You know what I mean? So
I would think so.
That's a pretty good opportunity for,
an
Athens trip. So we're going to obviously Texas, Ohio State week 1. That's a given.
Oh, you are going to that? Oh,
going to that one. I thought about LSU Clemson, man, and I don't get me wrong. I think there's a good chance it could end up being a better game, but I've never been to the Shoe before. I've been to Clemson enough times. And I also thought about this, admittedly. I was like, hey, if I follow LSU down to Clemson, they really are going to start thinking I'm an LSU fan.
That's true.
So
it really is. Maybe he is biased. He's just hung out with them for the last several months.
Exactly. I never seen the Shoe, and it's a college football playoff rematch, obviously. But yes, to answer your question, I've got a tentative schedule because you want to have somewhat of a rough idea of where you might be. Because here's the biggest part about the planning of it: I don't repeat anywhere. So once I go to Death Valley, I won't go back. I won't go back to Baton Rouge. For example, last year I went to LSU Ole Miss, rushed the field, great game. A couple weeks later, Bama comes to town, and I got people being like, "You need to come back down to Baton Rouge. You're good juju. Come on." And I'm like, I'm not going to repeat. Plus that weekend I went to Ole Miss, Georgia, and it worked out pretty well. Rushed the field again. But I keep a lot of flexibility in the schedule because you make a good point. By week 9 or 10, you never know. Some games you thought were going to be good, maybe, and some games that you didn't know were going to be so good. Got a lot more on the line than you expect. So I don't know that some weeks I do go to the best game of the week, but I try to go to a really, really intriguing game every single week. And there's only 4 places I haven't been to this point: Mizzou, Oklahoma, Kentucky, and Mississippi State.
Okay.
I feel really good I'm going to get to Mizzou. I really want to get to Como. I can tell you 110% I'm getting to Norman. So wink, wink. Think week 2.
Okay.
And Kentucky, I'm probably going to save for basketball season because I don't think they're going to be very good. And Mississippi State, that might be a save for baseball season, but I'm thinking I don't know. It's probably going to be a save for baseball season. I hate it, but it's just tough to go watch Jeff Lebby and the boys right now. So it's going to be
struggling.
It's going to be a great season, man. I'm stoked. It'll be 15 straight weeks again. I say we'll end it in Atlanta at the SEC title, but the thing that's going to be different about this season, the SEC Unfiltered tour is going to be on steroids because I'm planning on at least going to one of those. I mean, I would assume I would hope somebody's going to host a home playoff game from the SEC.
I would
we will be at that one. And I'm also planning on going to one of these playoff games. It's like a neutral site. So we didn't do that last year. I am planning on the tour going beyond just the regular season and the SEC title. And, hopefully it's ending in a national championship, man. I'd love to. I've never been to a natty, obviously, but certainly would be really cool for us, a cool way to end it, but got to get there. So it's going to be a fun season, man. And I can tell you this, though, Baton Rouge is on the schedule. It will not come off the schedule. Baton Rouge will be a yearly visit for me. And I'll tell you, just because we're on this show, the game I'm targeting is the LSU A&M game. So,
boom,
like I said, that one, I feel pretty confident that that's still going to be a good game at that point. I'd like to think so.
It could be a very meaningful game at that point.
Even if A&M's not great, as long as LSU is, you know what I mean? It's just Baton Rouge is a non-negotiable for me. I have to get to every single day. I will not go through a football season maybe ever again where I don't go to Baton Rouge at some point.
Well, I think it would be a mistake if you didn't come to Baton Rouge at least once per season because, as you know, it's a fun
I got to
place.
run it back at that bingo bus, man. I miss those frozen vodka slushies. I miss the liquor dispenser on the bus. I miss it, man. I miss Baton Rouge. I was on with Mikey Matuk and those guys on his show, Mic'd Up on Friday, and I was like, man, I really miss you guys, man. So I miss you, dude.
We miss
Baton
you
Rouge
too, brother.
Baton Rouge gets in your blood, and it's impossible to shake, man. It's unlike anywhere else. I tell you what I do want to do on a side note, by the way. Never really spent any time in New Orleans. So I'd like to kind of throw that. I've never done the Bourbon Street thing. So
you've not? Okay.
No, never.
Well, anybody listen to this, I think we all need to go and meet
Philly
down in NOLA.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like during a football season thing or if we should save that for like Mardi Gras and baseball season, but yeah,
I think you should do both.
At some point. Yeah, so just why not both? Why not both?
Why not both? But, yeah, you make a good point. A lot of people that will come in, especially from opposing teams and stuff, they'll go to New Orleans, and then they'll drive up on game day to go to the game and then go back to New Orleans.
That's a scary play right there. Cause,
I think that's a scary play, too. You got to have a driver, number one.
Yeah.
Dude,
I'll tell you this. Last season, I didn't go to New Orleans, but I tell you, last season I went to, obviously, Baton Rouge for LSU Ole Miss, and I'd never been to Baton Rouge before.
That was your first Death Valley experience?
It was.
That was a damn good one.
I mean, dude, think about this. That was my first Death Valley experience, and then my first Alex Box experience was Bear Jones' walk-off against Tennessee on Friday night. I'm like, this place, we talk about voodoo. I was like, this place is just dripping with voodoo. But, yeah, I got down there, last fall, and my sister was actually living down there at the time, and I got a buddy who I'll probably end up staying with again who lives down there. Got in on Thursday, had a low-key night, went to, I believe it's Ben 77. Shout out to them. Yeah. Really good restaurant.
Right across the street from me, brother.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Went
500 yards from me.
Yeah, went there for dinner on Thursday night, and then Friday is when the real shenanigans began. And, I mean, dude, I hit the spots, went to Ivar's, went to Uncle Earl's, ended up at LaBerge Casino.
Okay.
My friend, I'm not joking. I did not end up going to sleep until like 8 a.m.
Oh my Lord.
On game day. On game
day.
So I get home. I get back to where I'm staying. My sister and everybody I'm staying with, like, they're all getting ready to go to the tailgate. They're getting ready. I'm like, and I walk in. I'm like, I got to take a quick nap. So I literally pass out for like 2 hours. Wake up at like 10:30, and I'm like, okay, like we got to go. I can't sleep through the day. Like, we're here on a mission.
Nope.
So I went to the tailgate, did the whole festivities, did the game off like 2.5 hours of sleep. So I was welcome to Baton Rouge, and I was in rare form. So
that's how you do it. I mean, that is how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah. Next football season, or this football season, I will not be at LaBerge at those wee hours of the night. But yeah, no, it was a great time, man, and I can't wait to get back. Like I said, what's so cool is, like, yourself and so many others. It's cool to, like, go back this time around and be like, man, we have so many relationships now.
Yeah, you got a bunch of friends. You got a bunch of tailgates to come and visit.
Yeah, dude,
now,
exactly,
so,
man. I got so many people we can go see, and dude, it's going to be awesome. So I'm can't wait.
You mentioned the Netflix thing. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I plan on maybe starting that tonight. You guys are in there. Starting episode 3. There's a pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. We've been in talks with the producers and whatever for the last like 6 months. I mean, I've known, or maybe not 6, maybe like 3 months, but a while, right? Last 3-4 months. So I mean, I knew they were using our content, and they sent us over the final, copy or whatever with all of our content. I mean, they use 99 seconds of our content, whether it be video or audio. So I mean, it's really cool, and that's what I'm talking about that's what I'm talking about. It's like I said, like, there's just things that happen along the journey that you can't plan for. I always say the joy is in the journey, and I truly do believe that, luck is a real thing, but you make your own luck, I think, by how hard you work and your attitude and the way you attack each and every single day. And, like, you run into luck, when you bust your tail. So like that, like, for example, like that type of stuff, like I never could have planned, like, oh yeah, guys, let's
let's make sure we really do well in this video or this podcast today because, there might be a Netflix documentary that wants to use it. Like you don't think about that. But it is a cool reminder that people are always watching. I think sometimes you can lose perspective of like, because we're so attached to numbers, like you and I and so many other creators at times your stuff is so much more, I think, high impact than you realize it is. It's so much more. You don't realize who's all out there listening, who's engaging with it, who's interacting with it, who's coming in contact with it. So yeah, you cut on that Netflix documentary, like I said, starting episode number 3. And I'm going to go through and kind of put together a collage of all the spots that that we're in. Cause it's, admittedly, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I've kept my cool watching it, but I'm like, this is, if I showed this to 5 years ago me, or goodness gracious, 10 years ago me, I wouldn't have believed it. You know what I mean?
No.
So it's really, really neat, man. We got a couple cameo spots video wise, a lot of audio. They used a lot of audio as far as like overlays on setting the scene for games. And it's just neat, man. It's really, really neat. Cool. So it's, like I said, it's a blessing because it's a cool reminder, not just to my guys, but myself as well. Like, don't ever go into a piece of content. Like, I mean, it's human nature. Like, are you fired up every single day? I mean, we all have our days where you're like,
sure,
all right, but really try to keep perspective of how cool it is what you're doing. And again, how impactful it is what you're doing and how fortunate we are to do it. And the fact that, man, every time you cut on that mic and you cut on that camera, you have an opportunity to make an impact and make a splash. And you just never know. You just never know how it may be, who's watching and who may want to do something with it or whatever. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's I believe in do your best as one of like the core values of life. And again, it's another example of why you should. And it's not about just doing your best when you feel your best. It's about doing the very best you got. Even on those
every
days
time.
when if you got 80% to give, just give that 80%. Give it all.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like that's what separates people is like, can you show up on the days when you don't feel like it?
Right.
Still do your very best. And that's all you can do at the end of the day. If you do that, you can't hang your head there's segments of content we do that I'm like, I don't feel like that was like my A++ effort, but I gave it all I had. And that's
right.
The end consumer may not even realize that, right? It's like I had somebody tell me, like, it's like the master pianist. And when he's playing, he'll miss a note, and we won't even realize it, but he knows. You know what I mean?
He knows it, and it drives him crazy.
Yeah, he understands it, he knows it, but like to the end consumer, they don't know or realize, or maybe they don't even care. So, but that's what I think that's the thing that separates the top level performers from just being average is like it's that constant strive for perfection, even though it's, we obviously know it's unattainable realistically. So
it is.
It's just that continuing to hone in on the craft and working on mastering your craft. That's really what separates you, I think.
I love it, man. No, that's very, very well said. I can think of times where I've made a show. I wasn't 100% that night, but I gave it what I had, and I'm like, that sucked. And then it's the next day, I get a message from somebody or something about, like, I'm really so happy you talked about this or that or whatever. And I'm like, wow, somebody did watch this. Like, at times when I turn this on and I'm recording, I'm like, ain't nobody going to see this. And I'm like, oh, wait, people do see it.
You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. It really, it's really cool, man, the opportunity we had. And I mean, that's why, like, I love making so much content because it's like, hey, even if you have a piece of content that you feel like wasn't your best, there's always the next one. You're only
the next thing. Exactly.
You're only as good as your last one. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right.
I try to attack it all like an athlete, man. I mean, I was a college athlete, and like it's so much of the journey, whether it's entrepreneurship or media or just whatever else in life, you can relate it back to being an athlete. Like the grind and the 10,000 hours or 10,000 iterations to the pursuit of mastery, like all of that. So
exactly. What position did you play in baseball?
I was a pitcher, so okay. I always liked having the ball in my hand and having all the attention on me. So that probably explains a lot when it comes to this. So,
well, I think everybody who does something like we're doing has to have a little bit of attention seeking in them. Yeah, I know. Sure. I do.
Well, I mean, think about it. It takes like a certain. I mean, I'm a listen. Like I I favor stoicism, and I think that mastering the ego and separating yourself. I mean, I could go down this whole rabbit hole about that, but you have to have some level of ego to say, hey, I'm going to get behind a mic and a camera, and people should listen to me. Like, what I have to say is important. You have to have some level of that. I mean, it teeters on confidence and a slight bit of ego, but you have to have some, because if you truly had none, it would
just fall flat.
Yeah,
it'd fall flat. You have to have it.
Either you just wouldn't do it, or it'd fall flat. So
yeah,
but I mean, it's truly a journey, man. If you go back and look at some of my early shows, I'm like, yeah, dude, I sucked. I mean, I didn't have my cadence, I didn't have my voice. Yeah, you get better as you go, man. So
the more you do, it's the 10,000 hours, like you said. The more you practice, it's kind of the way that I always look at every single show that I record, whether I have a guest or if I'm doing it solo or whatever. It's practice. It's just practice. It's just another time for me to get better, because I'm obviously going to edit this and put it out. So I'm going to watch it back, and watching it back is just, frankly, it's just gotten me better, or at least I think I'm better, but I know I'm better. I can see last show I did versus first 5 or 15 shows that I did.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, this is night and day different. Everything's different from whenever it first started, but it evolves. And I think that's kind of the whole takeaway, is that it's ever evolving and continuously growing. And part of the fun of it is that you don't really know what direction it's going. You kind of know the path, but that path kind of gets wide the further out you go, and you may end up over here, you may end up over there, and you don't know. That's the journey. Is the fun. That's the fun part for me. It kind of sounds like that's been the fun part for you as well.
Yeah, it's never complete, like you said. Like, for example, New Year's has become one of my favorite holidays, because every year we crunch numbers and we'll look back on the year that was and celebrate our successes. But it's fun because, like, I remember I'll give you an example. Started in January 2017, had essentially 0 followers on Twitter. It took me a year to hit 1,000 followers. And I remember when I hit my 1,000th follower, like, how pumped I was. I literally went and got a bottle of champagne to celebrate. Like, that was such a big deal to hit 1,000 followers. And so then, like, you fast forward another year from January of 2018 to January 2019, went from 1,000 to 4,000. So it's like, you get to that point, you're like, man, I really thought I did something having 1,000. Now look where we're at. You do that every year, though. You know what I mean? Like, every year, it's cool to, like, look back and you're like, man, like, look how I leveled up.
It's like compound interest.
Right. You're like, look at the lessons I learned. Like, look how I leveled up. Like, I really thought I was doing something then. Now look at me now. Like, you get to just continuously, like, just improve and build and grow and look back. And, like, you have so much perspective, because you're like, and I think it helps you not lose perspective also. Like, being like, man, I was at this spot, now I'm here. But yeah, man, it's I always say, again, the joy is in the journey. Like you said, it's never complete. That's the beautiful part. Like, everybody asks me, like, what's your end goal? And I'm like, if I ever reach a point where I'm like, this is the end, I will quit and do something else. Like,
right, exactly.
If the end goal was, like, let's say, my end goal is to hit 100,000 followers. That's once I get there,
then what?
I'll be happy. Yeah, then what?
Exactly.
The scary thing is, like, when people put an end goal, like, they put just such a hard definition on that. You find out once you get to that place and you make it all about that, you don't feel any different than you did before. It's like, well, darn. I mean, now, like you said, now what? So no, it's why, like I said, it's why I always say the joy is in the journey. You got to enjoy every step of the way. Certainly I am. And, I love to evolve. I love the constant reinvention and, tinkering with things and changing things up a little bit, trying new things. And I feel confident we have so much of that left. Like, I used to say I feel like I'm only 1% of the way. Truly, I feel like I'm just starting. I maybe feel like I'm a little bit further than that now. I got to admit, I don't say that quite as much as I used to, but I still feel like I'm very, like, I don't look at it and be like, man, I'm on the back 9 of this thing. Like, I'm not even close. Like, I still feel like I'm like, we just started. I mean, the SEC Unfiltered just started in my mind. So it's, it's really cool, man. Because, again, you'll stop yourself and you're like, you think about where you were, say, 5 years ago, and you're like, man, where am I going to be in 5 years? Like, that's and there's obviously no rush because I want to experience it all, but it's really kind of wild to think about.
It is, dude. It is, and congratulations on where you're at now, and how you've grown. I think I started following you obviously before SEC Unfiltered because, like I said at the top of the show, I really thought that you were Chris Phillips, the catcher from the early 2000s with LSU, and then it didn't take long for me to be like, I don't think that's Philly. And then I finally saw like you talking. I went, yeah, that's definitely not him. That's not the Chris
Hopefully
Phillips
that guy's a legend though. Hopefully
he is a legend, dude. He's a cool dude too.
Love
He's
that.
from Shreveport. He was a pretty good ball player. I had friends who were good friends with him. I hadn't talked to him in years, but yeah, there are two Chris Phillips out in this world, and both of them are kick ass and cool. So there is that. Dude, let's talk a little ball. Let's jump in. I've got a few questions for you. Let's get your expertise on the SEC, and I'm going to kind of start at the top with it. Who are your four SEC teams? Who are your top four SEC teams heading into the season right now?
Yeah, I'm going to go pretty boring with this one as of right now. So, little disclaimer here. Actually starting, I guess, tomorrow. Pretty crazy. Tomorrow, I'm going to start dropping game-by-game predictions for every single team. So, here's what's interesting about that. You asked me like a month ago, right? And I dropped my predicted order of finish at SEC Media Days. But, it's been a month. And, when you actually sit down and you pick every single game and you're like, ooh, I don't know. I feel a little bit differently than, you never know. But, these are the four I feel really confident in. And, again, it's boring, but Alabama, Texas, Georgia, LSU, right? And my predicted order of finish, I dropped at SEC Media Days. I had Bama and Texas in the SEC title, Texas winning it, at Georgia 3, LSU 4. I think any combo of those four are going to be in Atlanta. That could be in Atlanta, are going to be in Atlanta. Yeah. If anybody outside of that top four ends up in the SEC title, I'd be really surprised. It's so interesting because right now it's like you can talk yourself into and out of so many teams, right? Yeah. Look at all this hype Oklahoma's catching over the last week or two. Video surfaces of John Mateer throwing a football in slow motion. It's like they're going to the playoff. Look at that. Look at that. People have talked themselves in and out of Florida because of the DJ Lagway situation. People have talked themselves in and out of South Carolina because of on one hand, you have Lenora Sellers. On the other hand, you lost a lot from last year, especially on defense.
Right.
Ole Miss, kind of same thing. Schedule's really workable. I think Austin Simmons is going to be a really good player. Lost a lot on defense. Missouri, Eli Drinkwitz, all he does every year is, or at least the last couple of years, is do more with less. And, my God, their schedule's a joke. They should win at least 8 games with the schedule, So, God forbid, could they get to 10? So, but I think those top four I mentioned, I feel pretty confident in. I think Texas is just so talented across the board. I do think Arch is going to be a good player. Georgia, I ain't putting Kirby Smart outside the top four. That'd be just lunacy. The fact I don't have him in the SEC title might be kind of crazy. You look at their roster, they don't have the household names, but man, they're so deep. They're just so much talent in that group. Kirby Smart's highest blue chip ratio ever on a roster. Which is wild to think about.
That is wild.
Gunnar Stockton's a big pick to click for them, obviously. They got to get back to running the football, I think is probably their biggest question, but Georgia's going to be there.
Yeah.
LSU, obviously, with Nuss and all the weapons they added in the portal, and I think the defense should take a step forward. A lot of unknowns, obviously, in the back end of the defense, but lots of talent. But the defense, I think, as a whole under Blake Baker, year 2 should take a step. Offensive line's a huge question mark, obviously. But, I don't want to say can they be worse because they probably can. But I don't know that they can be much worse running the football. That's their big question. Can they run the football, generate a running game? Because if they can, if they have balance, I think Garrett Nussmeier will have a big year. I really do. Yeah. I was hard on Nuss, but if you look back at the stats, his attempts per game were pretty crazy. And you think about, so why did he throw so many picks? Well, he's throwing it more than most people. And, I think at some point you're like, hey, the game is all on me to go win. And led to some bad decisions, really
Sure.
bad decisions. But you have arguably the best quarterback returning. And the one team I didn't talk about, Alabama, I'm very high on. I think Bama, it comes down to quarterback. If quarterback clicks, they're loaded. I think Bama's just straight up loaded across the board.
They scare me because I think they're flying under the radar a little bit right now, and I don't like an Alabama team that's flying under the radar.
They have something to prove from the standpoint of like, was losing to teams that were less talented than you and that you had no excuse losing to, was that just like a year one Kalen DeBoer thing?
Right.
Or is that a bad trend that starts to follow them? Right? Like, how do you explain losing to Vandy? How do you explain losing that game to Oklahoma? Those two are just mind-boggling. Even Tennessee on the road makes a lot more sense. I was at that game. I get it. Like, Neyland's crazy.
Yeah.
That Tennessee defense was relentless. But those two to Vandy and Oklahoma, I wonder, like, does that follow them into this year?
Yeah,
or does Bama get back to being like, hey, when they play somebody who's quote-unquote inferior to them, they pound them. And, again, they've got the roster. I think Bama's going to be a college ball playoff team. If they're not, the quarterback position, I think, really went south. So, but that being said, man, what's the likelihood all four of those teams pop the same exact way like that we all think they're going to? That's the big thing. So that's a long-winded answer to say those are my top four, but I'm expecting chaos. I really think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a chaotic year again.
Some upsets, some crazy things like in Oklahoma, Alabama. That was probably.
I think it'll start.
That was
week
my
one.
craziest.
I think it'll start week one. Listen,
you think?
Oh yeah. You got LSU, Clemson. Granted, that wouldn't be an upset if
either way,
really. And then it's kind of a pick 'em in Columbus as well. But dude, Auburn, Baylor. Heck, I don't think don't sleep on that South Carolina Virginia Tech game. Tennessee, Syracuse could get weird. Bama, Florida State could get weird. I just. Again, it ain't gonna go chalk, man. It ain't gonna go chalk.
Chance. Not a chance. How many SEC teams do you think makes the playoffs?
Right now, I'm going with those top four. I think we'll have 2 11-win teams and 2 10-win teams. I don't think anybody goes undefeated. I think those days are pretty much over.
Yeah.
Just because this, the league is so tough. Top to bottom, it's so deep, and there's just so much parity. So, like, even Texas is going to lose to somebody. LSU, obviously, they're going to lose to somebody.
Yeah.
Georgia, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody's going undefeated. So, but I got 4. I think every year until the other changes happen, like, I got way overzealous last year. I said 5 would get in, and it's like, I think we're probably closer to like 3 or 4 every year we'll get in. I think that's kind of where we sit, the number. So I think it will be 4. And I think we're probably going to have a similar situation as last year. There's going to be some 9-3 team or multiple 9-3 teams that's probably going to get left out. Yeah, but that's the tough thing to predict because, like, if it's an Oklahoma at 9-3 with their schedule, do they get an at-large bid? If it's Florida at 9-3 with their schedule, do they get an at-large bid? South Carolina, same thing. So, but I think 4 is probably the right number, and I think those top 4. But again, what scares me about saying all this, it just feels too simple. Like, it's just – because, like, you look at them, and I'm like, this is tier 1, then there's a gap, then the next tier.
Right.
Is it really that simple? Like, I just – it never is.
No, and it won't be.
It never is that simple.
No.
Yeah.
No, they got to play the game, and then that's when like you said, the chaos happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Who do you think's the most underrated team in the SEC?
That's a really good question because, like you said, you can talk yourself in and out of so many of them. The team that probably I'm going to end up buying stock on, and for example, like my predictions are probably going to be a little bit better than I expected on them. The team that's probably underrated is Oklahoma. I do think John Mateer is going to be a really fun player. Jaden Knott's a hell of a running back. If they can block, they're going to be a problem. I mean, really, truly, Deion Burks, I still think can be one of the SEC's very best wide receivers. And then defensively, it's Brent Venables, man. Like, our Mason Thomas is super underrated, one of the best pass rushers in the entire conference. They did lose Bowman and Stutzman, but I think they've got enough pieces back on defense. And again, I trust Brent Venables with that side of the football. Schedule's brutal, but I think they could get to 9 wins. I'll tell you this, though. I say they're underrated. The expectations in Norman, they're wild, man. I mean, I talked to a guy. I talked to my buddy Tyler McComas, who works for the Ref down in Norman, the radio station. Dude, he's telling me that 8-4 might get Brent Venables fired. And I'm like, 8-4 feels like a pretty solid year. But, dude, Oklahoma is just not used to what they're dealing with. You know what I mean?
No.
This is a program that, like, winning less than double-digit games is just unfathomable. It's sacrilegious for them. So, the offensive line's the pick to click. I'll tell you the other one, though, because Oklahoma's a sexy pick. I think that Ole Miss can end up being a little bit underrated, which I say that, but you know what's so weird about them? Nobody's talking about them.
No.
Yet they were picked to finish like 7th by the media. So it's not like they were picked to finish that far off from a playoff discussion.
Right.
But nobody's talking about them as a dark horse. I think them and Mizzou could end up being underrated. Just Mizzou is, I'll tell you this, Mizzou is perpetually underrated. They are, because nobody wants to give Mizzou any credit whatsoever.
They're tough to beat.
Well, and I will say this too, though. We should be discussing them as a college football playoff dark horse because their schedule is just so conducive to it. I mean, they don't leave Como till October 18th.
Wow. Holy cow.
They don't leave Columbia, Missouri till October 18th.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's insane.
Yeah. So their first
for them.
Their
but
first
then they must
6
have
games are at home.
The back end, though, sounds like they have a hell of a lot of – it's going to be tough.
Yeah,
on the back end.
Yeah, they do. I mean, but they miss some of the biggest – they don't play a Texas. I don't believe they play a Tennessee. Yeah, so like in the schedule, they don't play an LSU, obviously. I mean, they're starting October 18th. They're at Auburn, at Vandy, and their other 2 road games are at Oklahoma and at Arkansas. I mean, you'll take that. You'll take that.
I wish we had
Oklahoma
that
will be tough, but I mean, Arkansas and Vandy you go on the road to, and then it's like who knows what Auburn is, who knows what Oklahoma is. You know what I mean? And you get A&M at home, Bama at home, South Carolina's at home. And your other one, Mississippi State, UMass, Louisiana, Kansas, and Central Arkansas.
Yeah.
I mean,
give me that schedule for LSU,
that
please.
schedule is a dream, dude. That schedule's a dream. So you have to kind of – but Mizzou and Ole Miss both, I think there's kind of there's an overcorrection maybe happening by the media and just folks who watch and cover the sport. Because it's like I think everybody looked at last year as like, all right, this is your opportunity to prove yourself. And they didn't. Neither one of them made the playoffs. Everybody's like, all right, we got to overcorrect and be like, these teams are going to suck. Like, they have no shot. Don't even mention them in the playoff discussion. It'd be the most Lane Kiffin thing ever if Ole Miss made the playoff this year. Do it when you're not supposed to. So, 100%. If Ole Miss gets the defense, if they're average on defense, hey, listen, I've talked to a lot of LSU people that are worried about that road trip to Oxford. They're worried about that game.
It ain't ever easy. No, I mean, I'm worried about it too. I mean, a lot of trash talking, not a lot of love lost between the
old
two.
Magnolia Bowl.
Yeah, the old Magnolia Bowl. Always a thorn in our side, and I believe we're always a thorn in theirs as well. Yeah. So that makes it fun. You kind of brought up Oklahoma and 8-4 putting their coach in the hot seat. Who's in trouble if they don't win early? Besides Oklahoma, because I think that's obviously the given answer is if they don't win, he gone. They're not going to tolerate it.
That week 2 game against Michigan is vital for them. Hugh Freeze at Auburn.
Yeah.
If they lose to Baylor week 1, that seat is going to – you'll be able to see the flames from wherever you are in SEC country. That seat will be so hot. And then it's what's ironic is a couple weeks later they play each other. They play in like week 5. So, wow. I mean, I think the loser of that game is probably going to get fired. Whether it's midseason, season's end, I don't think the loser of that game makes it. Really, truly, both are looking at it as a must-win. They are. They both are. Who else needs to win early? I mean, probably a Sam Pittman.
Yeah,
I'd probably say he needs to win early to have any shot at them having a successful season. I mean, 6-6 or worse. I think he's probably gone 7-5 or better. They probably bring him back. Now, does Pittman want to go out on his own terms and retire? I think that's a whole other factor in this.
Right. Those
are the 3, though.
Yeah,
that are on the hottest seat. I mean, listen, like you could throw Billy Napier in there too. There's just a lot of competitive pressure at Florida. I forget they get.
I didn't think he was going to survive last year, and
that's what I'm saying.
They got
man.
better though every week.
The more we think we know, the less we realize we actually do know. So
we don't know
Florida,
anything.
Florida early. You got, Long Island, South Florida at LSU. I don't know if you're a Gators fan, realistically. You can't be, pounding the table. Like, Billy Napier's got to win that game. It's like, come on. It's a tough place to play.
That's a tough one.
But the next week at Miami, they want that one.
They want that one.
You need to win that. If you're Billy Napier,
you got to win the state of Florida.
You do. And Miami with Carson Beck, who knows? But after they crushed you last year, and here's the thing. I say it's at Miami. You and I both know they don't have a home field advantage.
No, they do not.
There'll be as many Gators in there, if not
100%,
more, as there are Canes. So, if you're Napier, you got to win that one. But those top 3, I think, those top 3 of Venables, Freeze, and Pittman, those are the seats that are just flat out scorching.
Yeah, that makes sense. And this kind of goes along in the line of that question. What fan base? And it may be one of these 3. What fan base is going to completely melt down by week 4?
That's a great question. It obviously depends. The fan base that is going to completely melt down by week 4 is going to be Auburn.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Auburn. I do.
They're just not in a real good position right now to begin with.
Because they have
the off season they've had, and
they have so much talent. If they go out there and trip up and lose to Baylor week 1, it'd be hard to come back from that.
Hugh will need to get back in his stretcher, back up in the press box.
Because you said by week 4. So if they lose to Baylor week 1, Ball State, South Alabama weeks 2 and 3, and then you get Oklahoma week 4.
There it is.
If they lose that one, and it won't be easy to win that one.
No.
But if they're sitting there 2-2, buddy,
see ya.
No, it'll be full panic mode. Social media be filled with fire Hugh Freeze. You'll see coaching hot boards. It will be full on panic on the plains.
Well, over here is the LSU guy. I have no problems with that whatsoever. Auburn,
listen, it could be. It could be LSU if they lose to Clemson and they get upset by Florida.
There it is. I wanted somebody to officially say it because
it will. Listen, if LSU starts 1-2, it'll be full panic mode, full 100% meltdown mode.
100%. I as a fan, I love the LSU Clemson matchup just because, hell yeah, the Battle of the Death Valleys, all that good stuff. But at the same time, it kind of sucks for the loser in that game. It doesn't matter who it is. It's going to suck for the loser. Has an uphill battle for the rest of the season. I think Clemson can overcome a loss to LSU a little bit easier than LSU can overcome a loss to Clemson, as far as the hole they have to dig out of for the rest of the season. It's not like Clemson. Let's just be honest. Clemson plays an ACC schedule. LSU does not. So, there's that just in and of itself. But, yeah, I agree with that. You know enough about the rumblings here in Baton Rouge, and people, I don't know a stat, but popularity-wise, Brian Kelly's still maybe 60% popular here, maybe, if that. There's still a lot of people that are not sold on him. I think this is the biggest season for Brian Kelly while he's been here. This is his team. This is all the kids that he has brought in. He has it the way he wants it. It looks like they're having fun and the energy's there and that camaraderie and the things you want to see looks like it's all there. And it looks like, and dare I say, it looks like the Brian Kelly teams that were at Notre Dame. Right? So we just got to hope that Notre Dame Brian needs to be here the whole season and then also find a way to extend that into the postseason. That's what
I mean,
we
listen,
hope
for all the great things they've done in Baton Rouge off the field and roster building and culture, and it's all great. You and I both know it comes down to wins and losses. I mean, it's
100%.
They have to make the playoff this year. I don't think they have to win a national championship because achieving that is harder than it's ever been.
Yeah.
But we've kind of gone from, in college football, we've gone from a championship or bust mentality to now it's playoff or bust. Like, it just at minimum, you have to make, at a place like LSU, you are expected on a yearly basis to make the playoff. Whether that's
100%.
realistic or not, you are. Like, I'd say over the course of a decade, I like to kind of zoom out. How do you quantify it over a decade? I think at LSU, you're realistically, like if you took the most realistic LSU fan, I'd probably still say like 8 out of 10 years minimum. Like, you need to be making the playoff way more often than you're not. Like, if you're anything below 8 out of 10, like maybe you could get away with 7.
Maybe.
You start getting in a 6 and like 50% success.
That ain't going to work.
You're not going to make it. You're not going to make it, man. So, yeah, I mean, and I understand it. I mean, there's programs where that expectation makes sense. Alabama, Georgia, Texas, LSU. I think Oklahoma thinks they should be in that conversation.
Yeah, I think
but like Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. I mean, Clemson makes sense, to be honest with you, being in the conference they're in. If Florida State got back to being, we know Florida State football probably should be. Like there's certain programs where like those expectations, it's kind of like in college baseball. Like there's programs that expect to, and it's far more unrealistic than making the playoff, but they expect to make it to Omaha every year. Here's a better example. There's programs that expect to be hosting a regional every single year.
100%.
LSU's one of them. Like if they don't host a regional, they had a bad year. They had a really
terrible
bad
year. It ain't happened too often in the last 25, 30 years either.
Like last year when not this past season, but last year, like when they had to go to Chapel Hill for a regional. I mean, they had a bad season. Like that was a bad season for LSU baseball. So LSU football is the same way. I think you look at it, hey, anything less than making the playoff is less than 10-2. Anything less than 10-2 is a bad year. And I was told by somebody at LSU, I'll repeat what they said, 9-3 at LSU gets you fired. You go 9-3 enough, ask Les Miles. You get fired.
That's it.
You can't survive down there going 9-3.
No.
And especially, again, do I think BK gets fired if they don't make the playoff this year? I mean, if it got bad enough, maybe. But I know his buyout's crazy, and they've invested so much in him. But, man, after all that these people have poured into, hey, you want a roster? We got you a roster.
That's it.
Want portal guys? We got portal guys. Like, you're out here saying you got the best roster you've ever had since you've been at LSU. After, like, in the offseason, you're like, hey, I expect to be talking to y'all at the national championship or whatever he said. Everybody let him off the hook for the judge me in year 3 comment because the product in year 3 wasn't all that great.
Right.
So it's really put up or shut up time now. Right?
It is.
You're right. It's put up or shut up. But what I think's fascinating, since we're talking LSU, is this week 1 game. I feel like everybody's going to pick Clemson to win because it's at Clemson and because LSU can't win a season opener. And it's just like it's so obvious to pick Clemson. What happens when it's very obvious? Sometimes the opposite happens. So, like,
right.
I'm kind of sitting here, and it's about matchups for sure. Like, the thing that scares me the most is LSU's offensive line ready to go in a hostile environment, go up against maybe the best front 7 in college football. But I'm kind of like, do I want to, you want to zig when everybody zags. You know what I mean? Do I want to zig when everybody zags?
Exactly.
And go with that? Because, I mean, they're only a 4-point underdog, but I feel like, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think many people are going to be giving LSU a chance, to be honest with you.
No, I think you're right. I think that there are more questions, and what Clemson is bringing back is, they have a veteran team. I like a veteran team.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not totally sold on Clemson either. I mean, like, my question with Clemson, when did we all decide they were elite again? You know what I mean? Like, when did we all come together and be like, yep, Clemson's elite again? Because it's like this time last year, we were questioning Dabo, and people were still high on them for sure, but, like, we weren't thinking about them as, like, national title contender. And
no.
All they did when they played the SEC was get smacked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Georgia put them in a body bag. They lose to South Carolina, their arch rival, on their home field.
Yes.
And then they, get mollywopped by Texas. So, I mean, like, I mean, and I think that's another thing. I know you and I both know Blake Ruffino really well, and he mentioned this when I talked to him about it. And I think he made a great point. That's another, I think there's a sense of pride for LSU. Like, hey, man, you can't be that SEC team that Clemson goes out there and beats up on. It's not a good look, you know? It's like, okay, so Georgia, South Carolina, and Texas can beat them, but LSU is the one that, for whatever reason, can't beat them. So it's LSU's got to get this season opener monkey off their back. They do. Have to. Like, I think if it's going to be if it's going to be a special season,
got to win.
I think they've got to beat Clemson. I do.
It sets the tone. I mean, they win that game, they would, I would think, be in the top 3 pretty much the next week, maybe top 5 for sure, which it doesn't matter about polls until the end of the season, but the momentum is there to move forward. And then once you get the Gators come in, take care of business there, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. So let's go have fun. So I agree totally. And at the same time, as a fan, makes me nervous as hell because here we go again. Is the whole season on game 1? Not totally, but yeah, kind of. That's the way I feel about it. I'm a little anxious already, just like I'm already kind of want to start pacing. I'm already getting nervous about kickoff with 3 or 4 weeks away.
I don't love a noon kickoff. I try to avoid them at all costs, to be honest with you, but I am glad Texas, Ohio State is at noon. So that way I can watch that game that night.
That's true. Yeah, you're
probably going to be in some bar in Columbus, just
for sure,
watching that ball game. Yeah, so I'm excited, man. I've heard good things about Columbus, but hopefully we're watching LSU Clemson after a Texas dub. So
that would be fun. Yeah, it's a definitely a bucket list stadium. So I look forward to seeing what all the content.
Yeah, we'll be vlogging again, man. It'll be We've upgraded the camera since last year. It'll be the same one that I had when I was at LSU this spring at Omaha. Yeah, it'll be awesome, man. I'm super stoked.
It's a badass little camera, dude.
That little Omni Pocket, man, it does the job.
Awesome.
Yeah,
it is. Well, that kind of wraps up our little SEC preview. Well, one more question is who's your dark horse, SEC or not? Who's your dark horse to potentially make a run nationally, make the playoffs, and maybe make a splash outside of the SEC?
Outside of the SEC, that's a good question. It's funny you asked me this because actually next week we're gonna drop. I'm gonna drop my 12-team playoff predictions.
Well, don't worry, this show won't come out for about
3
weeks.
I don't. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. I dark horse outside of the SEC. I like Georgia Tech.
Okay.
I like Haynes King a lot, man. Maybe I'm falling in love with the quarterback, but maybe Georgia Tech can make some noise. I mean, like you said, it's the ACC. It's so wide open. So, I like Georgia Tech a lot. I think if there's a team that's going to come out of the ACC and surprise, I think it's Brent Key's program.
Nice. There you go. There you have it, folks. The dark horse. Georgia Tech. I like it, dude. I like it. They, back when you were a kid and you were getting into football in the early 2000s, I was at Peach Bowls and things like that in Atlanta playing the Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech. And they had some good teams in those years. And, it would be nice to see those fine folks there get back into the elite glory of college football.
Yeah, funny enough, my earliest memories of LSU football, Matt Flynn, Glenn Dorsey, when they win the title. They won the title in 2003, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, winning the title in 2003, Nick Saban.
And that was with Matt Mock and those guys.
Matty Mock.
And then 07's with Flynn.
That's right, yeah, Matty Mock at quarterback. That's right, yeah. Who was the running back in 2003 again?
Was it LeBrandon Tofield? I could be.
Maybe. I just remember they had a nasty
Tofield may have been 07. I can't remember. We've had some good ones.
Yeah, and then obviously, you get in like the Jacob Hester era and the Honey Badger and yeah, just so many dudes.
Straight up dudes, no doubt.
Dude.
Well, that brings us to the final segment of the show. My favorite part of the show. It's time for the Tigs Blitz. Quick takes, just real quick. Don't think, no time to think. Just give me the first thing that comes to the top of your mind. And there's no incriminating ones in this week's, unfortunately for me and the audience. No, there's some good ones. Crawfish or barbecue?
Oh, barbecue.
I mean, I figured you would say that, knowing that the first time that you had crawfish, I witnessed it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I probably go with barbecue too. To lead off of that, though, and the most controversial take, where is the best barbecue in the South?
Oh, damn, that is a good question. The best barbecue I've ever had was in Texas. That's not even the South, but that's the best.
Yep.
But it's different, though. I mean, Carolina, listen, shout out to Carolina. The Carolinas. Yep. I'll show some love to the hometown, the home city, home state. The Carolinas, our barbecue is phenomenal.
It is. The pulled pork and the slaw and all that.
So and that's the thing, too. So best barbecue, Carolinas. The brisket in Texas is just unreal.
I agree 100% on that. Yeah, there is no better brisket in the world than you will get in Texas. That's just
they don't mess
fact.
around, man.
No, they
don't
not
mess around.
They take pride in everything they do in Texas, but brisket is up at the top of the mountain of what they take pride in there too. And I thank God they do, because I love it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing to eat. Favorite stadium food that's not popcorn or hot dogs?
I'll be honest with you, I don't eat a ton of stadium food either. I mean, probably a burger, to be honest, if I'm getting anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably if it's not going to be a hot dog, probably a burger.
I'm not a big concession guy.
I'm not either. That's the thing. I'm really not.
I want to watch the game.
Yeah, I'm not a concession guy.
My son is. I just give him the debit card and go get whatever you want. Get me a water.
My favorite concession item in a stadium is a beer. That's for sure.
There you go.
A beer.
That's the right answer.
Yeah.
That is the right answer. What's your go-to tailgate drink?
See, this one, probably a cold beer, but this one varies, man. I hate to be I feel like I'm not playing this game by the rules, but if I'm at an LSU tailgate, probably a bourbon and Coke of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably typically like whiskey Coke. Vodka soda will also, just depends on time of year. So I'm kind of all, but like a cold beer on a hot college tailgate, hot day is undefeated, man. But I'm equal opportunity when it comes to alcohol. So whatever you got. And then you go to some places, they got a signature drink. So like Alabama, they got the Yellow Hammer. So
yeah, very true.
I mean, it just kind of depends. I'm whatever's available.
How about that?
Whatever's available.
Whatever is available.
Yeah.
Who has the best uniforms in the SEC?
LSU.
That's the right answer. No.
LSU or Florida's really close behind them. It's 1A, 1B for me, but yeah, LSU's are iconic.
They are, man. And so are Florida's. There's not a Florida guy, but I love the Gator. I think it's one of the coolest logos in sports. So there you go, Florida. That's about all you're going to get from me.
The nicest thing you'll get.
It's about the nicest thing you're going to get from me. What's your favorite non-SEC college football tradition?
Non-SEC. Probably Enter Sandman, Virginia Tech.
pretty damn cool.
It's just so awesome, man. That's
see,
like a bucket list. I want to go to see the entrance. That's how you know it's special.
They didn't do like I went. It was Nick Saban after 2003, so I guess that was 2004. We went to Blacksburg. Did not have a very good experience in Blacksburg, but I don't think that they were. They may have been coming out to Enter Sandman, but I'm pretty sure I would have remembered it if it had grown to where it's at now. But where it's at now is insanity. I'm sure you saw Metallica actually played Lane Stadium, and the place just lost their mind. Which that to me, this is blasphemy. Hot take here. I was at Garth Brooks here in Baton Rouge in Death Valley, playing call in Baton Rouge. Awesome. But just even talking about it gives me goosebumps thinking about being in Lane Stadium and Metallica doing that, and just like, wow. That would have been my top. I know George Strait played Texas A&M. Still, give me Metallica any night, anywhere, pretty much. But unbelievable. Yeah, I agree. That's a great take.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's the most memorable moment from an SEC game that you have attended?
I mean, I got to go to that Bama-Georgia game last year. Ryan Williams turns into Superman, puts the Tide ahead, they win. That was nuts. There were so many from last season alone. That one, I mean, rushing the field 4 times, pick any one of them. The 2024 season as a whole, but no, that Ryan Williams play was like the fact I got that on video too, because Georgia had just scored. I'm like, hey, let's just see. Here I'm like, Bama's got a shot to respond. Let's see what they do. First play. First play. So that Bama Georgia game was one of the best college football games I've ever seen.
That was a hell of a ball game. It really, really was. I'm still a little embarrassed that we rushed the field for beating Ole Miss, but
I've heard that. Listen, I loved it from the content perspective.
Sure.
I get it. LSU feels like they're kind of above. I understand that.
Yeah.
Especially for Ole Miss, who they feel like is, again, so beneath them.
I think it was that was the first night that the true lighting system was in. It was just, as you were there, it was just a party all day in the stadium. It was a party that night, and I think that the kids got wrapped up in the emotion.
Rushing the field, too, became like the hot thing to do last season.
Right.
So I if I can just get one field rush in this year, I'd be pretty ecstatic. I'm not banking on a bunch of those, but just give me 1 or 2. I need it. So.
You gotta have it. That juice is awesome. It's just the best feeling in the world, though, to win a big game like that and to have the crowd going nuts. I love the lights in all the stadiums now. It just adds to it. Some of the old timers hate it, but whatever. They can get over it. What's your favorite SEC stadium?
Favorite just stadium, like building, is Kyle Field.
Yeah,
it's the best one in the league, in my opinion. It's again, this is not factoring in atmosphere, none of just the building itself.
Yeah,
but I will say this: Kyle Field's the best. Maybe my favorite is the Swamp. It's the most unique stadium, I think, in the the painting with the orange and welcome to the Swamp.
Yeah, the configuration
it's a really cool. Yeah, it's a really cool stadium. It's a really cool stadium.
I think I know the answer here, but I got to ask this question anyhow. Best tailgate scene in the SEC?
Well, you think you know the answer. There's a lot of different directions I could go here with this. The overall just best tailgating scene in the SEC. Dude, that's hard to pick. I mean, that really the tailgate that won best tailgate last year was Morris Hall in Athens.
Okay.
Specifically, they did it up.
And look, nothing but props to Georgia, because anytime they come here or we've gone there, those cats bring it. I always call. I call them the redneck LSU fans.
Yeah,
there's a lot of similarities in the over the topness.
It's so easy to go the Grove in Ole Miss. I didn't really see the best of the Grove, to be honest, because it was a rainy day at Georgia game. I mean, they're tailgating sick, though, but, man, I mean, LSU's got to be in the convo, man.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to everybody out there, just know that we're going to do SEC Tour Superlatives, SEC U Tour Superlatives again, end of season, and we'll hand out awards like best tailgate, best stadium, loudest environment. So
that's fun.
Just know what's on the line when we come.
Yeah,
know what's on
no
the line.
pressure. Bring your A game.
I mean, LSU rose a bunch of spots after Omaha alone. So yeah. I mean, LSU they're right up there. I don't know if I really answered your question, but
yeah, you answered it well enough.
The best overall, I think the coolest and best and just most unique tailgating, I will still say right now, is Ole Miss. Where else are there chandeliers? I mean, whether you love it or hate it, it is just the most like.
I've had a blast in the Grove.
They take more pride in tailgating than they do the damn game at times.
Oh, 100%.
It's about, again, they never lose a tailgate.
Yeah.
So the tailgating at Ole Miss is pretty next level.
It is. I mean, and it is everywhere. You mentioned earlier in the show about you can't take an LSU guy to Tuscaloosa and they brag on it. I'm going to let you know that my favorite road trip that I ever go on in the SEC following the Tigers, Tuscaloosa. I have the most fun there for whatever reason.
T-Town's sick, man. I love
it's fun, dude.
It's awesome.
It's a good setup by the stadium. It's convenient. Really, their expectation to win is so high that they already look down upon you before you ever show up. Coming from an opposing team's perspective, and everybody's just cool. I mean, every place has their idiots, but.
Right.
I've honestly never had a bad time in Tuscaloosa. Also have a winning record there, but that's beside the point. Favorite all-time SEC player?
Tim Tebow.
It's a good one.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just guy's a legend. Played the game the right way. Model dude. Model citizen, if you will. So.
Just a great guy.
Tebow's, I feel like, just like the GOAT of the SEC.
He's definitely on the Mount Rushmore of the SEC, and I think he should be the current ambassador of the SEC. Why would you not want him to be? He's just he's everything you want. Good dude, got it all, and was one fun dude to watch play. I've been to the Swamp one time. It was his senior season. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
It was not my time at the Swamp. Probably, there's no doubt about it, was not as fun as your time at the Swamp. Guaranteed. We did not win that game. They got their ass beat. Well,
Florida got killed when I went last year, so I'm the return trip. Hopefully, will be redemption. I'll get to see the Swamp in its glory. Yeah,
the Swamp in its glory that night when LSU played them. It was a night game. It was jet engine. It lived up to as loud as everybody always said it was. 100% agree. The two loudest stadiums I've ever been in, LSU and Florida. Easily.
Yeah.
Last question. I have so many. I'm going to pick the best one. All right, this is one. If you went back to college, what SEC school would you pick and attend strictly for the party scene?
Ooh, that's a good one. Strictly for the party scene, probably Georgia. Their bar scene's undefeated. If it was just about the partying, Georgia. The bar scene, again, it's just that Athens to me is the best college town in the country. It's just Athens is just insane. Yeah, it's
a cool place.
Endless bars
and good music.
Yeah.
All of it, everywhere, no doubt. I think that's a great answer. Obviously, we know where I think.
My other answer would have been Tuscaloosa. I don't want Alabama.
There you go.
It'd be a great party scene just because you're kicking everybody's ass in football. Like you're great, and there's a lot of fun bars down there too.
That's all located. I think it's all in location. Like Baton Rouge is great, but it's so spread out. as you know. You've got to go over here to go do that. You got to go to the LaBerge over here to do that. You've got to, it's not all just compacted just right around the stadium like it is at some other places. So that totally makes sense, man. That makes sense. Well, Chris, this was a lot of fun, dude. It was a lot of fun getting to know more about you and your takes on the SEC football season coming up. I'm excited now. Like, this is my first run of let's get into football mode, and I'm there now. So let everybody know where they can follow all of the action this season.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on, man, and it was a lot of fun. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure. We're on social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, where you get your content at SEC Unfiltered. Wherever you get podcasts, YouTube, you can find us there. It's where you can follow along with not just the show, but the tour as well. We'll post all the vlogs, all the content. We got some special stuff planned in regards to segments we haven't announced yet that we'll roll out for the football season. And then our website as well, secunfiltered.com. So literally anywhere and everywhere you get content, my friend, you can find us there at SEC Unfiltered.
Well, y'all go check them out. Big thanks to Chris for coming on, keeping it real, keeping it unbiased. I love that. I love that. So y'all go follow them. SEC Unfiltered on all of the platforms. Like I said, the dude drops tons of content daily, and he don't miss. And if you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with one of your SEC-obsessed friends or one of your SEC hater friends. That'd be great, too. Let's just keep the conversation going. It helps more than you'll ever know. And we've got more shows like this on the way all season long, so stay locked in with us. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see you next time.